Hello, my friend. It's your host, Gina here, coming on for a solo episode all about how to take on challenges in your life with more confidence and courage. I cannot wait to get into this topic. And what inspired me to come on and share about this today is that I am taking on two really big challenges in my life right now, one personally and one professionally. And I am learning so much that I just felt so compelled to share it with you. If you are ready to grow and expand to your next level in any way, shape, or form, if you want to overcome something that's been holding you back, if you want to just expand your capacity and belief in what's possible, taking on a challenge in whatever capacity is an incredibly powerful way to do that. So, we're going to talk about how to choose your challenge, what can help you navigate through that challenge, and what can help you juice all of the goodness possible from that challenge so that you can become someone new in the process of it. So if you're craving growth and expansion in your life right now, this episode is for you. Okay, so to share with you the two challenges I am in the midst of right now, number one has been a personal challenge to complete a 100-mile bike ride that I'm getting ready to do tomorrow, actually, as I'm recording this episode. The ride is on May 17th on Saturday, and that is to support an organization in Baltimore called Movable Feast, which is a nonprofit that raises money to provide medically tailored meals to those in need. I'll tell you all about that shortly coming up. And then the other professional challenge that I'm in the midst of is my goal is to reach 100K in my business income. So those are two big challenges that I'm taking on in my life right now. And now we're going to talk about the 7 keys that have been helping me take on these challenges with more confidence and courage, and what can help you do the same, whatever your challenge is. All right, you ready? Key number 1, know your why. Why would you want to take on a challenge in the first place? Why does this matter? Both in the general sense of why do you want to take on a challenge, and then in a more specific sense, why this challenge? So again, for me, when I think about taking on any kind of challenge, it's an incredible opportunity and catalyst for growth. So if you think about going to the gym, the way that you build muscles is you exhaust those muscles, you lift weights, you do something that stretches your capacity, and that is what is the catalyst for growth. That strain, that discomfort, that tension, that pushing up against the growth edges makes you stronger. So taking on any kind of challenge intentionally can test your limits and help you push past those boundaries in a really intentional way to build up new skills, to build up new capacity, to step into a higher level of what's possible for yourself. So for me, growth is one of my core values, and I'm constantly looking for fun, meaningful ways to grow, to expand my capacity. So I always love a challenge. So for you, why would taking on a challenge matter to you? Think about that and answer that question for yourself. And then once you know you're ready for a challenge, then it's about choosing your challenge and being compelled by the why for that. So my dear friend Naomi invited me to do this 100-mile ride last year as well. And I was like, nah, I don't think so, not for me. And when she invited me again this year, it really felt like an aligned opportunity for multiple reasons. One, at the beginning of this year, when I was setting intentions for the year, one of the biggest things that came through, one of the biggest intentions I had for this year is really stepping into the energy of we over me. And what that means to me is being able to shift my focus and lens to having, me and my goals and my priorities be the most important thing in my life, to really turning that lens outward and looking more through the lens of how can I support other people? How can I serve the world? How can I show up in a bigger way to support my community, to support other people? And knowing that when I am of service in that way, that's when I'll be making the biggest contribution. And ultimately, that will have positive impacts on my own personal life as well. So I had this really strong intention of really wanting to focus on we versus me. So this was an opportunity where I got to support a really incredible nonprofit. I got to fundraise for them. I got to be a part of a group and a team, and we could all support each other. So this felt like a really incredible opportunity that aligned with all of the things that were most important to me in my life right now. And also, it felt like a really incredible opportunity to increase my capacity, to increase what I believed I was capable of. And to me, this feels very similar to why I love feng shui. How this relates is because, when I got into feng shui, one of the reasons that drew me to it is that I was always a very analytical, mind-based thinking person. And sometimes I feel like I would exhaust myself of trying to think something to death and solve a problem, and through force and through doing and through thinking. And feng shui is a really incredible way to work with the body, work with the energy, approach things from a more creative, intuitive perspective, and get into the feeling of something, get into how it would feel to bring a goal to life or to embody a new version of me, and to let that drive me and help me create powerful results, not just what I'm doing. So, how that relates to this ride is that as I'm working towards this professional goal of $100,000 in my business, I could do a different kind of challenge that would help me develop the mindset and the energy and the beliefs and the emotions that would also fuel my professional goals. So, as I am training for this ride, I'm developing a new belief system about myself, about what I'm capable of, and that can translate to helping me build belief in other areas of my life as well. And I love doing things like this because to me, it feels like a no pressure, really fun way to build the skills that are going to support me in other areas. Because sometimes I feel like when we try so hard to focus on something and we're really, working towards a goal or an outcome, I know I can make it harder for myself if I'm in that state of trying too hard, trying to force something to happen, being really attached to something. I love doing things like this from this feng shui perspective of approaching things from a different angle, because it feels super no pressure, really fun, and it's just a powerful way to create a breakthrough in something that maybe I was looking too closely at this picture over here. And if I could come at it from a different angle, something new becomes possible. So that's why I love approaching things from these different perspectives and not just focusing on everything through a logical, mind-based approach. So taking on this Ride for the Feast challenge, I know is going to help me in these other areas of my life as well. So again, know your why. Why do you want to take on a challenge in the first place? And why this challenge, whatever the challenge is that's calling to you, why that challenge? Key number 2, get clear on the impact. So there's always going to be an impact on you personally from taking on a challenge. And oftentimes there could be a bigger impact on the people around you for taking on a challenge. So for me, it was really important to me that I felt connected to the cause of Movable Feast. And I knew I would be a lot more compelled to fundraise, a lot more compelled to do this race in the first place if I could really stand behind the organization and feel connected to the work they were doing. So, part of my journey with Movable Feast and Ride for the Feast, one of the things I did was interview Sam from Movable Feast, who is the director of programs. That was a really powerful way for me to hear more about their story, hear more about their mission, hear more about the people that they're here to serve in the world. And that helped me get more connected to the impact of, again, why this mattered, not just for me personally. What was the impact that it was going to have on my community, on other people, for me to participate in this challenge? So for you and your challenge, what's the impact? Who will this touch? What will the ripple out effect be on the people around you? Even if it's just your friends and family who are going to be inspired by you taking on a challenge. Maybe it's your children. Maybe it's the people around you that you could inspire and motivate from your own energy. The ripple effect can be so huge. So spend a little bit of time thinking about this impact. And again, why does it matter? What are all the positive benefits that could come from you taking on this challenge? And if you have a business challenge, maybe it's who are all of the people that you're going to serve, all of your clients, all of the incredible things that they're going to receive from you stepping into this energy of this challenge and showing up bigger and brighter than ever before. Key number 3 is about focusing on who you will become. So for me, when I think about a challenge, it's not really about just meeting the arbitrary goal of what that challenge is. What's most important to me is who I will become in this process. That's what really matters, so much more than being able to check the box at the end and say, yes, I did it, or no, I didn't do it. So for me, when I thought about what was possible from taking on this challenge, one of the biggest outcomes I was hoping for by taking on this challenge was expanding my capacity, was really believing I had energy to do more. I had space to do more. There are a lot of things that I want to do in life, a lot of things I'm passionate about, goals that really matter to me. And this year, I've really been intentionally filling my plate with more. And I knew I didn't want to do this from a place of feeling overwhelmed and like, oh my gosh, there's so much on my plate. I can't possibly hold space for more. I instead want to believe that I have so much more capacity available to me than I realize. I have so much more mental capacity, physical capacity, emotional capacity, spiritual capacity, and that whatever I think is maxed out now, what if that was just the tip of the iceberg of what was possible? So I knew putting myself in this container, in this ride, training for 100 miles was really going to help me again push the boundaries of my capacity limits. And there have definitely been moments where I felt stretched thin and like my schedule was maxed out and my capacity was maxed out. And that was an opportunity for me to dig deeper, to really begin to reinforce new beliefs of I have so much more capacity than I realize. This is just the tip of the iceberg as to what's possible. I believe I'm capable of growing and expanding. So I can feel my capacity stretching as I've taken on all of this. And I am so excited to continue moving in this direction so that I can hold space for more in my life. So that to me is what's possible of who I'm becoming in this process. And some other things of who I'm stepping into through this, who I'm becoming through this. One is being able to know myself as someone who's able to achieve something that once felt impossible. In the past, I would have never said, oh yeah, for sure I could do 100 miles. So going through this process is again building my belief and evidence that I am capable of doing things that once felt impossible. I'm capable of doing things I've never done before. I'm capable of learning new skills. I'm capable of growing and expanding. It's a really tangible way to build that evidence. So for you and your challenge, ask yourself, who do you think you'll become in the process of taking on this challenge? What skills do you think you'll learn? What new capacity do you think you'll have? Who will you know yourself to be having gone through this challenge? And tying it back to the last key, you can also ask yourself, what's the impact of that? What would the impact be on the rest of your life if you knew yourself as someone who could do something that once felt impossible? Someone who could reach a goal and milestone you had never done before and you had no evidence of. What would the impact be on the rest of your life if you knew yourself as that person? That's something really important to spend time thinking about. So once you're clear about the why, the impact, the who you'll become, now we can get into some of the more tangible things of how are you actually going to take on this challenge. And I did it in this order for a reason, because so often when people are thinking about any goal, any challenge, the default is to go to what are all the actions I need to take in order to bring that challenge to life. And truly, I believe what actually fuels your results and your success and impacts that the most powerfully are your thoughts and feelings. So that's why we started with why this matters, to really get connected to that feeling state, that empowered state that's going to keep you going when things feel hard. That's what's going to be so much more powerful than just taking your brain to that logical action plan step. And that's important too. So now we're going to get into that. Key number 4 is about hypothesizing what you think it will take. So, whatever your challenge is, now is the time to ask yourself, what do you think it would take? What would it require of you to create that goal, to reach that milestone? And again, this is both the actions as well as what you would need to think about yourself, what you would need to believe, what you would need to feel. So, spending time hypothesizing both of those things too. It's not just the actions. So you would have to think maybe you're capable, it's possible, I have the support system I need, I'm resourceful, whatever it is, what would you have to think? That's a really powerful place to start. And then, okay, what would it take? So for me, I'm not an avid biker. I really had no idea what it would take to bike 100 miles. So I joined a team and I'm wearing our team shirt right now. Our team is called Tenderbits. If you're not watching this on YouTube, this shirt is fabulous. I love it. I'm going to show you what it looks like. I mean, come on. So I joined Team Tenderbits, and I've really been leaning into their collective wisdom to help me understand or help me get an idea of what it might take to bike 100 miles. And hearing their stories and hearing their insights, many of them have done this ride multiple times before. So really being able to learn from them. So for you, if you've never done whatever challenge it is that you're going for, are there people around you that you can ask for support, that you can gain insights and wisdom that you could learn from that would help you make your best educated guess as to what it would take to reach your challenge? So learning from others who have done it before. And then also, of course, asking your own intuition, asking your own heart, asking your own inner guidance. What do I think it would take? Making a list, sourcing your own brain, sourcing your own creativity, and answering that question for yourself. Just make your best guess. The best way to learn something is through trial and error, through embodied experience. So we can only learn so much from other people, and at some point we just have to try and experiment ourselves. So make your best guess as to what it would take to reach this challenge. Key number 5 is about taking inspired action. Now is the time to take all of those things that you hypothesized and put them into practice and see what happens. So for me, my team held training rides starting in January that I participated in. January, oh my gosh, that first ride was rough. It was like 30 something degrees. There was still snow on the ground. And I was like, okay, if this is what we're doing, I'm going to show up for this and I'm going to trust the process in this. So I did all the training rides with the team. And then I also asked myself, what do I need on top of that? And added in some extra 10-mile rides, 20-mile rides the past couple weeks, tuning into what I thought my body needed and could handle as I prepared for this race. And again, it wasn't just the physical mileage. For me, there was also what's the nutrition that's going to support me? What's the sleep that's going to support me? What else could I be doing to fuel my body and give myself the best chance possible to meet this challenge, to the best of my ability? And again, also the mindset. What could I be thinking? What could I be believing? What thoughts could I be practicing that are going to support me in this process? So for you, now is the time to take inspired action. And again, the brain is probably going to want to come up with the perfect plan and want to know exactly what to do ahead of time and want guarantees of how it's all going to work. And it doesn't work like that. The only way that we can find out if something is going to be effective or not, or produce the result that we want, is to try it out. So don't get caught up on, is this the perfect plan? Allow yourself to trust your gut, trust your intuition, trust your instincts, and then put it into practice. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's okay if it's messy. It's okay if it's one step at a time. That's how we learn. So take whatever action you feel inspired to take. And then the next key is about evaluating, adjusting, learning, and repeat. This is such an important practice when it comes to any challenge or any kind of growth. Really being able to take that time to pause and ask yourself what's working and what's not working, and making small tweaks and adjustments along the way is so valuable. And again, this is not from a place of judging yourself of what you did wrong or what you did right. This is about inviting in curiosity and learning from the process. And for me, my theme for this whole year is experimental spirit. And I've really been leaning into what would happen if I approached my life, my goals, my business, what's going on personally from this energy of a curious inventor. I don't think that an inventor is going to take it personally, or a scientist is going to take it personally if they mix two things together and don't get the result that they want. Or someone who's trying to make an invention, if something doesn't work, that's okay. They try again, they learn, they tweak. It doesn't mean that they're a personal failure because their experiment didn't work. So I'm really bringing in and inviting in this energy of curiosity into my own life, and can see tremendous impacts from it already. Because when we look back on ourselves and our journey and judge our process and make ourselves wrong and deem ourselves a failure because something didn't work, that energy is exhausting. It drains us. It lowers our capacity mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and it gives us so much less energy than we could have if we were looking back on our experiences from curiosity, from gratitude, from appreciation. So that's why this step is so important. And again, for me, I love being able to do this with a no pressure, fun challenge like this 100-mile bike ride, because for me, it's easier to do that potentially than in my business. That is more personal to me. And I'm in this constant practice of letting go of that too, letting go of judgment, letting go of any, measure of failure or success, and really just learning. And I can practice that over here with this ride. And everything I'm learning in this ride is going to translate to my business. So again, that's why I love a challenge, because all the skills that you learn are transferable to every area of your life. So what that's looked like for me as I've been training for this 100 miles is that with each training ride, I'm learning something. For example, I had been carrying around a backpack of supplies as I was riding. I had my extra water bottles in it. I had snacks. I had different things. And especially on the last 45-mile ride, this bag was kind of heavy. And I was like, why am I carrying around this bag? I'm looking at everyone else and they aren't carrying bags. They maybe have like handlebar bags or different things. And I'm just seeing like, wow, I'm carrying extra weight right now unnecessarily. What can I do differently next time that could alleviate this? So for the 100-mile ride coming up tomorrow, I'm going to have a small fanny pack that just has a couple snacks, a couple key things in it, and I'm not going to be carrying a large backpack. And yes, in the future, I could get like a handlebar bag, different things. It's constantly tweaking, constantly making changes. And that's one change that I made. And also, a couple weeks ago, I got an extra water bottle holder for my bike. So now my bike itself can carry 2 water bottles instead of just 1 water bottle. So that's one less water bottle I need to carry on my physical body that can now be carried on my bike. The other change I made recently is I just got a phone holder that hooks onto my handlebars. And I wanted to get this before the 100-mile bike for a couple reasons. One is that I have 10 hours to bike 100 miles. So, accounting for that, I'm going to be stopping for breaks and taking a little lunch break. I realized my goal is to be biking on average 15 miles an hour. And in my past training rides, I've been averaging around 11 to 13 miles an hour. And I didn't have a phone or something in front of me telling me my mileage. So now to have this phone in front of me, I'll be able to keep better track of my miles per hour, my mileage, where I'm at, am I on track throughout the ride so that I have that extra information to support me. So again, this is the power of evaluation and not just evaluating at the end. That's important too. Evaluating along the way. So, as you're working towards your challenge and you're taking your inspired actions, you've hypothesized, being able to ask yourself, okay, are the inspired actions that I thought would produce my results, are they working? Am I on track to reach my goal in whatever time frame I've set for myself? And if you're not, that's okay. You can learn, you can ask yourself, okay, what could I change? What could I adjust in order to get myself back on track? I think this is really key because oftentimes, especially when we're working towards something we've never done before, we don't know what it would take. If we knew what it would take, we would have done it already. We would have accomplished that thing already if that's something that was important to us. So, really, I invite you to not judge yourself if the actions that you thought would yield the results that you want are not working. It's okay. You're learning, you're hypothesizing, you're making your best guess. It's okay to be wrong, you know? So, to be able to have compassion for yourself through that process and curiosity for yourself through that process is so key. And just reminding yourself, I'm learning. All of this is valuable information that's helping me grow no matter what. Which brings me to the seventh key, maybe the most important of them all, which is to have fun along the way. This is so important because, again, if we are going through a challenge and we're making ourselves miserable and we're focusing on how hard it is and how far away we are and how it's not working and we're super attached to the outcome and feeling really desperate or whatever it is, that's going to make it a lot harder to reach that, to be successful in whatever it is that you're doing. So inviting in fun, letting this be a game, letting this be playful. Yes, it's a challenge and it can also be enjoyable. You can also celebrate yourself along the way. That will make such a big difference to help you keep going, even in those hard moments, even the moments that feel the most challenging. So for me, it's been really incredible to be part of a team, to be surrounded by people who are inspiring, welcoming, encouraging, and to have fun with them. Sometimes on our rides, we stop for lunch, we get to talk, we get to connect, we make these awesome shirts. Like, there's so many parts of this experience that have been so fun and so enjoyable and made it so much easier to stay connected to this challenge. So for you, how could you invite in more fun to this experience? How could you celebrate yourself every step along the way? For me, every ride pretty much I've done has been like the longest ride I've ever done. So being able to acknowledge myself after that 18-mile ride, after that 30-mile ride, after that 45-mile ride, and really enjoy the process, enjoy the journey, and know that that's all part of it. It's not just about the moment that I reach my goal. The more you can enjoy every step of the way, the more rewarding and fulfilling it will be. All right, my friends, those are the 7 keys that have been helping me approach challenges with more confidence and courage, and I truly believe they can help you do the same. And if you want support taking on a big challenge in your life, let's talk, my friend. I know in this episode, I talked a lot about this 100-mile bike ride and what that challenge meant to me. And what I will share also is when it comes to me taking on this 100K revenue challenge in my business, it is about so much more than the money. It is about the impact that I know I'm here to have in the world and the women that I am most committed to serving. because I know when I step into a higher level for myself, a higher capacity, a higher belief, higher access to my personal power and what I'm capable of, I know that I will be able to help you do the same so much more in your own life. And that is truly what I am so committed to, because I believe when women are connected to their power, connected to their purpose, connected to a why that fuels them, oh my gosh, the possibilities are endless of the ripple out impact we can all have in the world. Even if it's simply that you have access to more joy, you have access to more capacity to fill your life with things you love, personally, professionally, rest, passions, all of the things. I want that for you and more. So if you are feeling like you're ready to grow and expand into your next level, now's the time. It never gets easier. The best way to expand your capacity and to grow is to start now, to get in the process of it, to take action, to learn, to grow, to believe. So if you are ready to begin this journey today, go to ginacasbarro.com/clarity call to book a time to talk. This call is all about taking time to explore what deeply matters to you, connecting to that why, whatever that challenge is, whatever that next level is for you. We'll talk about why that matters, and we'll explore what's getting in your way, what's holding you back, and what are the tools and practices you could utilize that would support you on your path. And then we'll talk about how coaching can help, what it would be like to have support and accountability throughout your journey so that you don't quit, so that you don't give up. I shared a little bit about how Team Tenderbits has been so supportive to me stepping into this challenge. That's the power of being surrounded by people who believe in you, who have maybe reached goals before that you're working on reaching, who can help you step into a new level of capacity and belief for yourself. We all lift each other up. So if you are craving that kind of support, like I said, go to ginacasbarro.com/clarity call to see what that could be like, what it could be like to have support reaching whatever next level is there for you to reach. All right, my friend, I cannot wait to talk about your goals, your dreams, what challenge you're ready to take on. So head to that link and book a time to chat today. Again, if you're feeling that call, don't wait. Don't put this off and have this be another thing that's like, oh, one day when I have the time, I will make this call. When I have the money, I will see what it would be like to have the support of a coach. There's always going to be reasons. Don't let those reasons stand in your way. You taking one small action day by day makes all the difference. So if you're feeling that spark inside of you that's saying yes, let booking this call be one step that you take in the direction of that today. All right, my friends, I cannot wait to share with you how this ride goes. I'm going to be recording another podcast episode next week, sharing about all the lessons I've learned throughout the training process, and I'm sure what will come from actually doing this ride. So stay tuned for that episode. And in the meantime, I'm sending you so much love, and I'll talk to you soon.